Hi, it's Juris and welcome to Tattoo Shop Talk, and this time a little story time, and there will be a little tip or a warning type of a thing at the end of the video, so stick to the end and listen to my story. I am tattooing this one gentleman. We are getting close to the end of tattoo. We are around 3 hours in. I'm tattooing his leg, his shin part of a leg. We had some chats there and there. He had a cigarette break. We chatted some more. My other colleague who was working on a day leaves the shop, goes to the grocery store or something with his client. I get a bit more quiet. I'm zoomed in on a tattoo. I'm doing my thing. We are a bit more quiet and I'm tattooing, and suddenly he started to move his leg. And at that point I'm like, why is he moving this leg? Like, he was still for the whole time. And as I'm thinking that, it clicked that before he had mentioned that he had this epilepsy type of seizure. I don't know the ins and outs of it, because it's not like epilepsy, but it's like epilepsy-like thing. As I look up, I see the whole thing happening. It's the full package. Cramps, head is sideways, foam coming out of mouth. Obviously I got a bit scared, got up, tried to see what I can do. Luckily I remembered that I shouldn't do anything apart from be sure that he's sort of safe, that his head is not banging on a wall or he can't fall off the table. You see that and you want to help the person, but you know that you shouldn't do anything. So all I was doing was trying to put his arms and legs back on a bed. Thumbs up to Tatzel bed. It handled it well. His head at the beginning was a bit off it, but it looked like it's at least safe there. I managed to put the bed a bit more down and I was waiting for that situation to be over, obviously in a slight panic. With every sound he made and with every breath, which sounds different on a person with a seizure, but at least he was breathing. That was fine. I was trying to just catch his leg and arm and put it back and sort of make sure that he's there and he's safe. At the same time panicking a bit, like, will my iPad will be kicked off from the little stand on the side, so in the middle I had to grab an iPad, put it somewhere else, which is all a bit panicky because as you turn around you want to be sure that the person is safe. And it took around 4 or 5 minutes till the whole situation was over with all the action, and then it was at least 10 if not 20 minutes when he got back fully to senses. First, luckily my colleague was back because I tried to communicate with the guy and he was replying to me on Danish. So I was like, okay, he's not reading me what I'm saying. Then my colleague chipped in, explained what happened, and then he was slowly more responsive. He still wasn't fully aware what happened. He wanted to finish the tattoo, but I said, let's take a little break. We managed to contact his other half. She was pretty chill with it. She's like, yeah, keep him there and I'll be there in 5-10 minutes. I'll pick him up. When she said that, that provoked another thought of mine that you keep him there. I was like, if he's in this aftershock effect, maybe he tends to wander off or something. We were just taking this break. I told him let's wrap it in, rest a bit. Then his other half showed up. She explained him once again what happened. Then he was sort of accepting the fact and it was all good. And his other half was more worried about me than him because she's obviously used to those situations. That was my first one. That's a bit of an experience. Also, which was good for my memory, because I freshened up the fact what you should do or shouldn't do during the seizure type of a thing. I had a customer who mentioned that she has epilepsy and I was like, okay, and if it happens, what to do? Yeah, and we talked that you shouldn't do really anything, just make sure they are in a safe position, wait out for it. In that situation, also the person who was with the customer said oh, I know what to do, and they had this syringe type of a thing. But that's, I guess, because it happens on a more regular basis. Yeah, experience was a bit wild. It took 5 minutes. Then I chatted with friends who have epilepsy in their family. That guy mentioned that 5 minutes is a longer sign. They tend to be shorter as well. But we chatted that I did the right thing. I made sure that he's not falling off. He's in a safe position. From what he said, sometimes you can try to turn them on the side so there's less chance of choking. In this instance, it wasn't an option. It was on a tattoo bed because, it wasn't an option. I can't lift the guy off who's having a seizure. That's my story. It was pretty intense experience. I was a bit on the shaky side after it was done. The guy was like, oh, should we finish tattoo? I was like, nah, let it heal. And then let's do that last half hour. when we can do it. As editing, I realized that I almost forgot to mention very important thing, and that is be like these customers, be professional, responsible customers, and at least mention to your tattooist or piercer that you have some condition, and even better if you could explain what to do if those situations happen. That would be very nice. Like these customers, at least one of them have mentioned that he have had in the past like some sort of seizure type of a thing, and other customer who have it more on regular basis also said right away, I have epilepsy, just in case, I'll let you know. And then I asked what to do, so we had this little chat. That's very useful to know from all sides. So you know that they know, and even better, you know that they know what to do. So you would feel safer as a customer, and the practitioner would feel safer, or at least would know that that can happen and it will not spook them, which can happen. Some places do have those consent forms with questions about health. Some places don't. So if they don't have those forms, so you can at least kind of by the way mention it and throw it in that you have some sort of condition that they should be aware of, and that there can be some sort of a seizure, or it can be other conditions. So whatever it is, let that know. Be responsible, be professional customer. And now it's that little tip or warning type of a part. I was talking to my mom and I said, well, I had this interesting experience at work, and she's like, oh yeah, I know you have to put something in their mouth so they don't bite their tongues off, sort of like, this type of situation. And you shouldn't do that. And everyone who has been on a first aid course, that's one thing what they explain there. Like if you see like the epilepsy seizure type of a thing, back in the days people would say like you have to pin the person down and make sure they are there so they don't like hit themselves and all that type of stuff. I also heard that thing where you have to put like stick type of a thing in somebody's mouth, and that's also, they explain that they are already sort of cramped, and if you try to do some weird stuff you can cause more damage or try to hold them down. And that's that part that I would say, if you haven't had a first aid course, then try to get one. In some countries, like in Latvia, I remember we had it when you want to get driver's license. There's one day, there's this guy who does this quick crash course on first aid, and I also had a separate first aid course in England, so those subjects were talked out and I knew them. But if you only know all those grandpa methods, that situations can be dodgy, especially if you are in a country where people like to sue each other, and then it turns out that you were trying to put sticks in somebody's mouth who's having a seizure and try to pin them down. That can also backfire sort of financially, but my recommendations here is get a first aid course one way or another. I don't know what's your regulations in the country where you are. It's good to know those things, and in a situation like that, I was really happy that I knew what to do or what not to do. If you are pro first aid sort of coach type of a viewer, then let us know in the comment section what to do in this type of situation where somebody is having a seizure, and maybe what to do when somebody is fainted, because that's more common in piercing and tattoo shop type of a setting. Also on a fainting subject, I have heard some weird methods how to get people back to senses, like put a wet cloth on their necks, and like some people mention those salts that from what I heard they also can be a bit dangerous. So if you are expert on the subject, please let us all know what to do in a fainting situation and seizure type of situation. And if you are a viewer and you have heard some weird stuff, also leave that in the comment section so we all learn what weird methods are around and what we definitely shouldn't do. And do all the usual stuff. Press likes if you want to be super awesome, share this video, check all the playlists in the video description, there's some useful links. See you in a future episode. Thank you for watching. Bye. Stay safe, go to first aid course.